Hello and welcome back to the Real Music Talks. Today's guest is Andrew from Berlin, a hip hop artist who I went to college with.
Yeah,
How you
yeah,
doing,
yeah.
Andrew?
I'm
You
good,
good?
man. I'm good, man. How are you doing, man?
Not too bad at all. Yeah, it's weird, like us connecting, like a nice blast from the past.
Yeah, it's been a long time, man. You've been our drummer, AYS back in the day. But not just that, man. We just made music together, jam sessions together. Yeah, man.
So, how did you first get into music? I've never really sort of found out this background, so it's going to be interesting.
How did I first get into music? I mean, I've always liked music, to be honest. I've always been into music in general, so not specific to hip hop, but I think at the age of like 8, 9, I think there was a Jay-Z video that I saw on TV. I was very small, and I was like, wow, he's sick, and he's got all this, he's got boats and all that. So I was like, raw. From that moment on, I was just like hip hop, hip hop. So from there, I started listening to him. I started back then. I lived in Holland, so I'm born in Holland, born from Amsterdam. So I listened to the Dutch artists, I listened to the American artists, of course, a few UK, but not that they really come through at that time in
Mm.
03, 04.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's where it started really for me, the love of music. Making music started at around the age of 12. That's when I actually started writing for myself. But these were, of course, I was still in Holland, so these were Dutch lyrics. 2 years later, we moved to the UK. And I was like, okay, how am I gonna rap in English? So yeah, that was a bit of a struggle to overcome. But yeah, I got there in the end, for sure.
That's interesting. Have the cultures got kind of like a very different background? Like, is the music in Holland very different, basically, to like UK hip hop? I mean, I don't know that much about it.
Back in the day, the Dutch hip hop scene was very basically a Dutch version of the American hip hop scene. So it was we basically looked up to America. We took their style, their clothing, etc., their flows. But I think nowadays we're more. I mean, the Amsterdam or the Dutch hip hop scene is more connected with the UK, especially in regards to the UK drill. Um, Especially that sound there, yeah, for sure, and the Afro swing, Afro beats as well. They're pretty similar, but back
So
then not really. No,
So there's a lot of like cross influences there as well.
for
How
sure,
did you
yeah.
kind of form AYS? I want to know that story.
AYS, yeah, AYS. That started in college, man. So obviously, um, yeah, it was me, Shalom, who's now my manager, and Sean, was an original member. We just connected our love for music, our love for hip hop, and we found out that we liked rhyming as well. So we thought, why don't we record something? Why don't we start something? So I remember our first two songs that we recorded. We recorded up in the Wyvern Theatre. I don't know if that's still there.
I
By
think it is, yeah.
yeah,
I know what you mean.
yeah, we recorded there, and the first two songs we recorded over a Rihanna beat and New Boys beat. I remember "You're a Jerk." I don't know if you know that song, and Rihanna's "Rude Boy" song. We recorded over that song as well. So those were the first two songs that we ever did. I don't know where they are. We recorded it that weekend. Monday we brought it back to college, played it for everyone, and everyone was like, "Yeah, this is sick, man. This is sick. This is sick." Um, yeah, and then once we played it for everyone in college, that's when Shelton got involved. So then Shelton joined the group as well. So then it was four of us, and that was basically the birth of AYS, man.
Cool. And man,
A long
no,
time, man. Memories.
I know it's mad. Like, so what kind of like happened from there? Like, what was the next kind of stages in like the music career, and how did things progress from there?
Oh, my mic just fell off. 2 secs.
That's right.
Bit of technical difficulty. So
Okay.
repeat again.
What happened from there, basically? So like after AYS, like what were the next steps in your musical career?
After AYS. So yeah, so with AYS we kind of broke up because we entered like a talent show. We didn't make it through to the final. We came to the semi-final, but we didn't make it through to the final. So after that bit of disappointment, we just thought like, okay, let's just we're in our final year in college. Let's concentrate on getting into uni. And then we'll see from there. And then yeah, so then yeah, we broke up kind of thing. We all did our thing. And then at uni, so 2016, 17, that's when I actually started my solo journey. I released two mixtapes at uni as well, so called Undergraduate One and Undergraduate Two. There's somewhere to be found on Bandcamp and SoundCloud. So yeah, that's when I started my solo journey. Shelton, of course, he's in prison, and Shalom, he wasn't really in love with the process of making music himself anymore. So he was more focused on the managing aspects of it, which he proper did it much later on. But yeah, I just did my own thing for 2-3 years, and then yeah.
And what does that process look like now? Like now you're sort of working on your own. Do you work with other producers? Like how does the music sort of come about?
Yeah, so now it's really, like I said, Shalom manages me now. But we're really in like a partnership. So it's really like a 50-50 decision making, 50-50 input in terms of like investments in whatever we need to get or producers we need to pay. We still work with there's not a select producers, but we work with everyone we like. So every producer that sends us like good beats, but we also source out beats on like BeatStars or whatever to find good beats as well. And then yeah, I go here in Berlin, currently in Berlin. Got a studio just nearby me. I just get it down there, and then yeah, we put it out, man.
And what influences like your lyric writing process? So like where do you kind of draw inspiration from there?
Yeah, for me, I draw inspiration from just myself, man, life. Obviously, like when I started my solo journey at uni, it was about 2-3 years. I then went on a hiatus for like another 3 years or so. So in that time, I've lived life. I've moved to Berlin. I got married. I got kids. So I've lived I've lived life. So right now I've got so much to talk about, so much stories even back in the day that I could talk about. Yeah. So yeah, whatever, man. The writing process is just fluent. I get inspired by little things, but also like when I listen to other people's music as well, where I just listen to it, even when I like it or when I don't like it, I'm like, okay, I can do whatever you do, but I probably can do it better, or I would write it differently. And then I get to working, man. I get busy.
And like outside of hip hop, what other musical styles and like artists kind of influence you?
Outside of hip hop,
Mm.
that's a very good question. Outside of hip hop, I would say I listen a lot to R&B and Afro beats. So you know, current big Afrobeats artists like you got Wizkid, Burna Boy. They just won Grammys. You got Davido as well, who I really like. But then you got in Ghana as well. You've got like he's a rapper, so you probably put him in a hip hop section, but he's African.
Right, okay.
Called Sarkodie.
Yeah, yeah.
I really admire him and his skills and everything. So I listen a lot to that as well. But it's mainly um outside of hip hop, I listen to R&B and Afro beats. Yeah,
Cool. So that's shows like you've got such a diverse kind of like influence in terms of like what's made up your musical style.
for sure.
What
Yeah,
about
yeah.
like the business side to making music? Like obviously you say you got Shalom managing and stuff like that.
Mm.
What's your approach in terms of like marketing and growing your brand?
Yeah. So obviously this is something that we are very, how do I say it? Not really knowledgeable on.
Yeah.
This kind of always been a problem for myself and obviously Shalom's on board and also for us. So this is something that we're trying to figure out. I'm working. Um, we are working hard on it, on the branding and trying to figure out how we want to come across, how we want to put it out. But of course, in terms of marketing and all that, it requires investment, it requires money and lots of it. So um especially during these times, that's not always there. So we try to be as creative as possible. It's funny that you're talking about it, because yesterday I just had a meeting about our branding and how we're going to tackle it for my next project. So all I can say is stay tuned, man. But yeah, I think we're low key getting it we're low key figuring it out. But like I said, man, it's not my expertise or his expertise. So yeah, we've struggled in that department for sure. Yeah.
I think it's tricky like these days because social media has got an advantage because you can reach so many people, but at the same time, there's so much noise and there's so much like
Exactly.
competition for attention.
So
So
of
like
course
to stand out makes it hard.
yeah, we do the usual like Facebook ads, Google ads,
Yeah.
Insta ads, stuff like that, music videos. But obviously it takes a lot more to actually grow your fan base or grow, get your branding or your yourself out there. So this is what we for this year, this is definitely a main focus for us for sure.
Talk a little bit about like the modern like streaming world, right? Because you can't really make much money from streaming your tracks anymore.
Yeah.
Like, what are kind of your thoughts on that, and what do you think could be done to sort of help the music industry in that sense?
Yeah, I mean, this is a touchy subject for us musicians, right? The way I see it, yeah, I think like especially for us, if you're like like let me use myself for example. So if you're like an artist like me, you haven't got that many fans yet. You do get your streams for a few songs, but you haven't got that many fans yet, that many followers yet. So in regards to myself, whatever I'm getting out of the streams is fair. It's fair, you get me? So it's fair. But in regards to like, let's say if we was to get bigger and bigger, the the amount per streams that you get will still remain the same. And I think that is unfair, especially for the bigger artists where let's say like an Adele and a Sheeran, a Drake, they loads of people get a Spotify, again Apple Music because of these artists, and they just listen to Ed Sheeran. You probably just listen to Ed Sheeran. I don't listen to what you call it, Andrew with his prophecy track, but he gets paid per stream the same as an Adele. So this is what I don't agree with. I think people that have a large market share in regards to the streams should get paid more, and then obviously that should trickle down to the bottom feeders, those that if you don't contribute much to our platform in regards to streams, then you should get paid 0.0000001. Yeah. But I think for independent artists, it's also for us to find out different ways to sell our music. So we could also go on Bandcamp. I think Bandcamp is a great tool that we haven't explored yet, but we are in talks of exploring that for sure. I think that a direct way rather than doing it via a DSP would be our resolution. But for the big artists, I do understand their frustrations with it for sure. Yeah.
A lot of artists these days just focus on touring. Obviously, with like what's happened with COVID, it's been quite difficult.
Yeah.
What's been your experience with like COVID? Like, what sort of struggles have you had like trying to do music at this time?
The struggle. So I released the EP, my debut EP, Drew Back last year's September. Very well received. But I had to record it at home. So I couldn't go to the studio because it was a full lockdown over here.
Yeah.
So obviously I had to build a home studio. I had to do everything myself, the engineering also myself. I did a good job by the sounds of it. But of course, that is a struggle because you can't get the optimum studio quality of your sound. And therefore, if it's not recorded in a proper environment, then the mixing engineers will have a hard time making it sound good as well. So I think that would be the struggle. The other struggle, of course, is like shows. Setting up gigs, promoting your album via touring or whatever, or setting up gigs in your city has also been an issue. That's something that we couldn't do neither. And at home as well, I have a hard time setting up a place where I can do like a live stream performances. So I kind of have to do it outside. So yeah, those have been the struggles. But other than that, yeah, I've coped well, personally.
That's good. Yeah, it's a bit tricky time for musicians.
Yeah, for sure.
So on the note of gigging, like, can you talk to me like about your experience with gigging? Perhaps like the first shows you've ever done, like up until like now.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think in the AYS days, we performed a lot. There was, what year was it? I think 2010 or 11. Yeah, we just performed a lot of times, just locally, at events. And yeah, I enjoy it, man. It's, gigging. You you perform your music in a different way. People see you also live in the flesh as well, and they appreciate it more. And this is definitely something that we noticed when we were in the clubs or we were at a festival or wherever. Yeah, people enjoyed the music much more, and then they will go back and either buy it. Back in the day, it was less streaming, more buying, so they would buy it. Yeah, we enjoyed, man. So obviously, like our song "Summertime Swag" did really well, locally. So yeah, we just based off that one tune, we did a lot of performances of shows afterwards as well. When I went on my solo journey, I performed at Witchwood Festival in Gloucestershire. Um, yeah, it's just as of lately in the past 3 years, I haven't really been performing, so I'm very, very rusty. But I'm for sure looking forward to stepping on that stage again, man, because that's when I can bring myself out for sure.
Definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. With all the restrictions, it's like everyone's just egging to go. I haven't
Yeah.
played a gig in
But
ages.
what's your experience though with gigging with us? Because
It's been
you
fun, mate. Like, I mean, from my end as a drummer, like I just have the energy of hip hop and like the groove and everything.
yeah
So like that for me is a great experience because like obviously I'm more of a rock musician, right? And I played with
yeah
like loads of different bands, but it's nice to do something that's different.
yeah
It'd
yeah
be like my take and like that energy that you have,
mm,
like as a hip hop artist, is just fucking amazing. To be
different
honest, like
yeah
like I'd
fact
love to play with a hip hop artist, and actually a lot of my favorite drummers play with like the biggest hip hop artists.
yeah yeah
Like
yeah
I'm just sort of still in like envy of them. Do you know what I mean? Like touring with like Jay-Z or something. It just
yeah
that'd
yeah
be nuts, man.
facts
Like
facts yeah. Hey, once we're allowed to put on shows again, man, we go again, man. We
that'd be
go
good. I'd
again,
be up
bro.
for it. I'm
Yeah,
always up for it.
facts.
Let's talk a little bit about like your personal life. So, have you had any like personal struggles that you've sort of used music to help you through?
I think maybe the obvious ones would be like relationships, in it, failed relationships. You talk about, you write about it, but to be honest, I'm not. At the same time, I'm not really that artist as well, so I don't really like to um share that side. I've done it before, but I don't like to share that side if I don't have to. But yeah, in terms of my personal life, that would be it. Other than that, I like to share the good things about me, like whenever I'm happy or in a good space. Yeah, I like to talk about that. I like to brag about the things that I do have, because it's not always um you shouldn't always bragging sometimes is good, but people think they can only brag when they have a certain amount of money, or like they have this watch. But you can brag if I'm seeing a guitar behind you. You can brag about that. You get me? I can brag about I've got two boys. I can brag about I'm married. You get me? I got a wife. I got my own place. Things like that. So I like my personal life, talking about it in a more positive sense. But yeah, sometimes when obviously in the past, when you've had relationship problems, for example, you put a lyric or two in there, but you'd hardly catch me writing a whole song or something about it. No.
Mm.
Mm.
That's interesting. Um, as a black man, have you ever experienced any like racism? I mean, it's weird for me to think about because I've always had like mixed race friends and stuff. But
Yeah,
have you ever kind of had any personal experiences with that?
with racism,
Mm.
yeah, of course. Yeah, I don't know, in what sense do you wanna how do you want me to elaborate on that?
Just maybe talk about like I don't know some of the struggles you might have had when we went to college together, say, or like anything like really. To be honest.
I mean, I think like um as you get older, the racism for me, like in Swindon, for example, let me use Swindon for example.
Mm.
It's very it's more microaggressive. So it's very, so for example, it's not like I hate you N-word or N-word in your face, but it's more like um making comments about your hair, making comments about your attitude. Um I just have a straight face. All of a sudden I'm being perceived angry. That kind of, those microaggressions got placed upon us. And when I say us, just black people in general, but in Swindon, a lot. And yeah, I mean, as a younger, when playing football, you do get sometimes the overt racism as
Mm.
well, where they shout the N word, or where they you know make certain noises. Yeah, it's never good. I've got how do I put it? Yeah, I've got a huge opinion about it. I'm not sure if this is the platform, but I like to put in my music as well, in regards to what I feel, uh, in racism in general in life. Obviously, right now I'm in Germany as well, so you can imagine, um, you can get your fair share of, not necessarily overt racism, but covert racism, the microaggressions again that I'm talking about. But for me, it's all about, um, living my life unapologetically black, being proud of my skin, being proud of, my wife, she's black, my children are black. And that is really important to me, that I need to persevere with that and put out that image that, whatever you say, whatever you throw at me, or whatever other people do, this is me, and I'm unapologetic about it. And this is, most people that know me know that about me as well. White, black, whatever, they know that. I don't gloss around that.
That's great that you stand for that. Obviously, like I feel like there's been progress made, but as a society, it's still like rife. There's still a long way to go, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
Mm. Okay, so we're actually nearly out of time, mate. But the last question is, what is the plans for the future?
The plans for the future. Yeah, so next month or the month after, not sure. Dropping the new single. I could call it. It's called 2021. Conveniently titled. And then in the summer we're dropping the EP again, my second EP. Music videos that come in. Hopefully, when the COVID situation calms down a bit, we can do some shows. That's in the plans. And then towards the end of the year, next year, I'm dropping my debut mixtape, 10 tracks. So
10 tracks. Wow.
yeah. So I'm very excited about that. We'll see, man. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, more music, more slaps. I'm coming for sure.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, bro.
Looking forward to it. All right,
Yeah,
nice one, mate. Well, I appreciate your time today. It was really good to talk to you.
Yeah, man. You too. Nice to see you
And
again, man.
yeah, and you. And hopefully I get to play drums for you again at some point.
You will, man. Don't worry. I got you. Danny
Love
Rope.
it. Cheers, mate. It's been a
In a bit,
pleasure.
man. Later, man.
Nice one. Take care.